G'day guys, welcome back to the channel. Well, as you obviously can see here, I've got the 018 buggy here, the 124018, and I done a unboxing overview video the other week, and I did say in that video I'm going to do a pre-service on this before I take it out and test it for the first time. So I haven't ran this one at all. As you can see, the tires aren't even dirty, nothing, you know, it's just been in the box since I've done the overview the other day, last week. So that's what I'm going to do today, guys. I'm going to take some oil out of the shocks because they're really stiff, you know, like you can see in my other video. So I'm going to take some oil out of the shocks. I'm actually going to try to take this, I'm going to take this whole shell off. I know to gain access to the shock tower, you've got to take these ones off the top panel here on the hood, and a few on the side rails here. So I'm going to go through, suss it all out, lift that shell off so I can gain access to the diffs easier, undo the shock from here and down below as well on the swing arms as well, and just take a little bit of the oil out of them so it's ready for my first run. All right guys, so that's what I'm going to do, and I'll just skip to different parts of the stages that I encounter as I get to them. All right guys, so let's get started. Okay guys, as you can see, I've got the bonnet over there. It's just 3 screws on the top, and as you can see, I've got full access to the shock absorbers now. These are a little bit different than the 019 buggy for the fact that you don't need a wheel wrench on one of the sides. As you can see, it just screws on from the front. On the 019 buggy, you need a wheel wrench on one side and a screw on the other. It's actually got a nut. And as you can see here on the 018 buggy here, it's a rather thick plastic shock tower brace. It's not metal, it's actually plastic. So it's going to be pretty durable, I think. Look at the thickness of that compared to the alloy ones that you get on the 019 and 144001 buggies. So hopefully they'll be pretty durable in impacts and so forth. So yeah, I'm going to take these shocks out now, guys. Okay, and then sort them out, and I'll continue forward. Okay, as you can see, I've got the front shocks off. Okay, they're just on the bench over there in the corner. Now for the rear ones, just notice you have to take the wheel off on the rear because the way it's positioned, okay, you have to gain excess sideways up this, you know, on this angle to get the bottom part of the shock off. The top of the shock is easy, it's just there. So I'm going to be doing that. I'll take the wheels off, and then take these shocks off as well, and then take some oil out of those, and then I'll work on the diffs front and rear, and we'll be good to go. Alright guys, so I've skipped ahead a couple of minutes here. I've taken pretty much all the screws that you need to take out, bar 2, which I'll show you in a second. Alright, so underneath you've got to take those 6, okay, on these side rails, 3 on each side rail. Couple at the front. Obviously I've taken the bonnet off already, which you do have to do to gain access to these screws here on this plate. I've released them, there they are there. Now a little friendly tip to those that haven't, maybe are new to the hobby and haven't dismantled an RC car or truck before. When you've got an RC like this one that has all different lengths of screws, you've got short ones, you've got longer ones, what I like to do, instead of putting them all in a separate little piles, if possible, I like to keep them back onto the car where it's not going to affect you working on it, you know. So for example, the ones for these, this bracing here for the roll cage, it's just here on these are 2 screws there. So what I did, once I released them, because they're different size to the others, I just hand tighten them. You know, you don't have to go crazy, just a few turns and then they're stuck there. They won't go anywhere, you won't lose them. Same with some of the ones on the rear here, like on the rear here, you've got this little swing bumper type thing, and to take them out, I had to take these 2 longer screws out. So rather than putting them on this bench here and maybe losing them, I just screwed them back in, that way you don't lose them. Same with the back brace here, to release this section just there, those 2 holes there of the bracket for the back of the roll cage, done the same thing. took them two out, and I've got them screwed in, just a couple of threads just there. So it's just a handy little tip, guys. A lot of you guys probably already do this, especially if you've been in the hobby for a while, but I just thought I'll mention that just in case, you know, you're new to the hobby. You know, you might want to do that yourself. Just saves a lot of time looking for screws too, I think. So anyway, let's get back to what I was on about. As you can see, I've taken the whole shell off, basically taken all those screws out that I just showed you. But as I mentioned in the previous clip to this one, I took the rear wheels off because I thought the shock towers on the back, I'd have the Phillips head facing out, and I would easily gain access to loosen it and pull the bottom of the shock tower out. But as you can see, I couldn't gain access to it. They're actually the heads of the Phillips head screws for the bottom shock mounts. If I can get a shot there. Just there, look, just here. The actual heads of the Phillips head screws are facing in. So you do have to take this shell off anyway, guys. You have to actually take all those screws that I mentioned off to go in from the inside out to take those shocks out off. All right, guys, so I'm going to do that now, and then I can work on the shocks, release take some of the oil out to make them a bit softer like they should be, and then I can work on the diffs and put it all back together, and I'm good to go for my first drive test of this. All right, guys, so I'm going to skip to that now, and we'll see how these shocks are, as far as, or they're going to be topped up just like the 019 buggy. All right, guys, as you can see, I've taken the whole body off now. I've taken the rear shock out. Now with those screws that hold the bottom part of the shock, these will only loosen a certain amount. I kept unscrewing them and it just wouldn't go any further. So what you have to do is unscrew it as far as you can, and then get a pair of pointy nose pliers and then just pull it out. Just grip on there and pull it out, okay? So here's the rear shock. One of them, I've taken the spring and the bottom collar off. Okay, so I'm going to open this one up. I'm not going to show you every single shocky. I'm just going to open this one up for starters, and then take a bit of the shock oil out. Alright, guys, so I've got it in the vise. I've taken the cap off. As you can see, it is full to the brim, right up to the top. So what I like to do is just get a syringe here and just take a little bit out, like so. Okay, so I've just taken a little bit out. There's a bit in the syringe there on the plunger. So I'm going to do that to all the 4 shocks, and then I can work on the diffs. Okay, guys, so before I move on, I'll just show you a quick comparison. This is the one that I haven't touched yet. That's the rear shock. And here's the one that I just had in the vise, and I took a little bit of oil out, as you can see from the previous clip. Big difference. I only just took like a quarter out, and now I've got some smooth dampening now from the rear shocks. Okay, so I'm going to do the rest, and then we'll move on to the diffs. Check them for grease. Okay, guys, well, I just noticed something. Now I've done the front one. Okay, now even though I said I'm not going to show you every shock absorber that I do, I just noticed the difference in the front. I've got the rear here. There are differences between the front and the rear shocks on the 124018. Okay, as you can see, the rear ones are actually taller, and the body of the shock here, the silver bit, the body of them is longer as well. So there's a difference there, guys. All right, this is the front one. As you can see, it's working perfectly now. It's got good rebound, and there's the rear one. So you can't really mix them up anyway, but just thought I'll note that in this video. Okay, now the shock absorbers are all finished and all rectified. They're working great now. It's time to take the diffs out. Now, the rear one here, I've loosened all these 8 screws. So I've got 4 just there in front of us on this top center brace or second level brace, and 4 on the diffs here. So you want to loosen them out, all right? And then we can gain access to the diff. We can split this in half. All right, guys, I unloosened the screws on the center brace. There's actually 2 more screws just here underneath the brace. So I'm going to release this diff out now. So you just remove the dog bones as well. And as you can see, I haven't ran this car at all. Haven't even powered it on. Okay, and you can see they've put plenty of grease there, but it's not even touching the teeth. Okay, so I haven't even started this car up. Some people in my other video, I guess they thought the grease was actually on the teeth, and because I ran the car, it ended up on this plastic bit, but on the actual housing of the diff. But as you can see, they've just put it on the housing of the diff, like the 019 buggy. Alright, so I'm going to open up the diff. It's going to be the same, no doubt. It's not going to have much grease at all. So, alright, let's get into it and rectify these diffs, put some grease in there, and then put the car back together. Alright guys, well, to my surprise, on the 018 model here, this is the rear diff. There is actually a little bit of grease in there, a bit more than what I saw on the 019 buggy. So I'm going to add my own high temp grease to this, and then put it together, put it back in the car, and then do the front one. Alright guys, so I put a bit of my own grease in there, high temp bearing grease, and I spun it around a few times just to work it in there. So that's basically it guys. You just want an adequate amount of grease in there to cover all them gears properly. Put the diff back together, and then you're good to put it back in the car and start putting this 124018 back together. So I'm going to do the front as well, and I'll pretty much going to skip right to the end now once all the RC is back together. Alright guys, well, the 124018 is all back together now. All the shocks are dampened really good now, as you can see. They're not as stiff. That's how they should be, you know, to run this vehicle properly. They're going to last a long time now, especially because they were so over full. That puts stress on the seals, and if you keep them the way they are out the box, you know, from the factory, you know, you could blow out the seals over some time. So I've done that, and I greased both diffs, front and rear. Like I said, I wasn't going to make a video on this one when I unboxed and overviewed this last week, you know, because I've done a similar video on the 124019 buggy when I reviewed that a couple of weeks ago. But since there is some differences between this model and the buggy version, as far as the way the shocks are mounted, especially on the rear, this one has a plastic shock tower brace as well as you know, you have to take quite a few screws off to get the actual body shell off this one. It's not like the buggy version, a couple of little body clips, and the Lexan body is you know, you can be removed. This one you actually have to take about a dozen screws out and get this shell off, and that way you can work you know, underneath the canopy here, and you know, dismantle the diff covers and so forth. But yeah, because I was going to do it anyway, I thought I might as well document it. Hopefully it will help some people out there that have this model, the 018 model, especially those that are new to the hobby and maybe haven't worked or wrenched on a RC car before. So yeah, it's going to work really well now. I'm pretty happy with it. Like I said, the diffs are all greased. Just a bit of ease of mind there. I do recommend, before running these models from WLToys, these new ones, the 018 in front of me and the 019 buggy, that you do just spend a bit of time, half an hour. That's all it really takes. It's just a bunch of screws, guys. Add a bit of grease to them diffs, and just take a little bit of oil out of those shocks, and you'll be happy days. All right, guys. So yeah, it's all ready to go now for my test drive, and I'll catch you on the next one. Hope you enjoyed this video anyway, guys. Hope it's helped you out, some of you out there, especially that are new to the hobby. And if you like this video and all different types of RC videos that I do, please feel free to subscribe, like, comment, all that good stuff, and hit that notification bell because that's important. That way you'll be notified of all the video uploads that I put on my channel on YouTube. So until next time, guys, enjoy the hobby, and I'll catch you on the next one. Bye for now.